Online. Bish, are you there?
Yes, my brother. Yes, my brother.
All
Hearing you
right.
loud and clear.
All right. All right. So it is 2 minutes after 8, and tell them what's the name of the program, Bishai.
Yes, welcome to Finding Eden. Finding Eden. New program starting tonight on Nice Radio every first and third Monday nights of the month. So keep your dial locked on, call your friends, your family, your loved ones, your neighbors, your frenemies, and tell them Rastaman is here tonight. Bishai and Dougie. And we're keeping it live and beautiful tonight and nice.
And we're finding Eden. Where is Eden,
Yes,
Bishai? Where is Eden?
Eden is a garden, symbolic of the Garden of Eden. I will explain that as we go along. After I give the Isaiah, the praise, and so, so we find in Eden, we're going forward to how it was in the beginning, when everything the Almighty made was good and balanced and blessed. So we're going forward to that stage. Okay? And we want to have an Eden in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
All right.
Moving from chaos to order. So we find in Eden. This is the program to find Eden.
So while you go right ahead.
Everything was there in the Garden of Eden. Man, woman, godliness, everything. Beauty, So that is what we're looking for in St. Vincent. Love you all. Welcome to the first radio program entitled Finding Eden on the nicest of the nicest of the nice. Let us give some praise and thanks to the Most High, because without Him, without the Most High, none of us would be here today. So let us give thanks and praise the Rastafari way. From the Christ within I man and I to the universal Christ. Glory to the Word, glory to the Son, and glory to the power of the Most High, Jah Rastafari, Earth's rightful ruler. Jah, pour out thy blessings and love on all the people in this hour. Let thy light shine in our hearts and minds, so that we shall see the way forward out of this darkness. Blessed love to all in the name of the Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie and Empress Menen. Asking you to arise, O Jah, and let thine enemies be scattered. Let them not have dominion over us. Guide and protect I and I in this dispensation. Blessed be the guiding spirits of the Nataru of our ancestors, which look over I and I always, calling on the goddess Maat and the 42 divine ones from creation to set forth thine hands and lift thine eye up, thy people up firmly on the 7 basic principles of truth, balance, order, harmony, law, morality, and justice. Asking Mahat to bring order from the chaos we now face in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So let it be as it was at the time of creation, so that I and I will find Eden, finding Eden. Give I and I life over death, light over darkness, mind over matter, and good over evil every time. Ashi, Ashi, Ashi. Yes, my people, yes, my people. Blessed love. Now, what is finding Eden? What is it actually, and what is the objective? First of all, I have to thank the host of the program on the radio for giving I and I the opportunity to be here tonight, and to thank the Most High for the strength to be here. What we're going to do is to try to return. Eden is a symbolic name of a place that we'll keep in our minds. It's not any fixed permanent destination. It's the place where creation took place, and if the Almighty saw it was good, then it had to be good. So we want to return to the place that was good, the place that the Creator made, where everything was good. So returning to the good, we return into the balance, we return into the perfection, and then return to the natural state that existed at the creation of the earth and of the heavens, metaphysically. From our agricultural perspective, we're returning to a clean environment where there were no chemicals and no GMOs and no people trying to come with any false science and so on. That is where we hope that this program will take each and every one of us. We are saying food first, food first. And we are moving from we are using the saying, let your food be your medicine and your medicine your food. That's what we're trying to do and find in Eden. We are finding the science of divine spirituality. The science of divine spirituality. That was the science that was originally given to man. The science of divine spirituality. Because if you are your food, and your food is you, and the Almighty Spirit to dwell in you, it have to dwell in your food also. Can't be anywhere else. So we have to keep the earth clean and pure. We are also moving forward to the principle of collective security. Too much divide and rule. As the theme song say, in the beginning, it was I and I. And then it became divisive when the evil force came in. So we have to return to the love of each one, help one, each one, teach one. The principle of collective security. I have your back and you have mine. Right? And we also have to return to the mystic of human creativity, because each one was made a creative person. Each one has creativity in them. And we have to find that environment which fosters or brings out the creativity in each one of us. So that is what the program is intended to be, and let us keep it that way. Okay? So the words, we have to also pay heed to the words of multiply and replenish the earth. That is said in every book that was written and called a Bible or a book of rules or whatever holy book. Multiply and replenish the earth. We have to multiply, not divide or not add. Multiply is different than adding. 3 plus 3 is different than 3 times 3. So we have to multiply. The Father didn't say add. Add is like when you're doing cloning. Multiply is like when male and female mate and you multiply. If you wanted to clone people, you'd clone us and everybody would look the same and think the same. That is not what the Creator intended. So this cloning thing in agriculture ain't carrying us too far. Making numbers, but it ain't making spirituality. We're dealing with some heavy things in this program. But we, as Bob Marley say, light like a feather, heavy like lead. You overs? Okay. So we're replenishing the earth and we're multiplying. And we're also talking about the importance of the first culture. The first culture in Eden was agriculture. Because the Father made, the Creator made the plants, the trees, the microbes, all those things, long before He made man. When I say man, I don't mean just male, because man is both male and female. That's why you have to know and I have to teach the children. Man is both male and female. Okay? Woman and man is man. Right. So before I and I were created, agriculture, the elements and the needs for agriculture were there. So that became the first culture. Eden also spoke about fruit trees. You know, in the allegory, apples. Okay? So anybody who tell you anything else about the lack of importance of agriculture, them ain't coming from the Irish that I and I come from. Okay, so I have a couple people, a couple institutions who would be sponsoring this program, both in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and in America. So, I want to shout out one who I am familiar with. Good night, Oba. Get it to hit earlier. Yes, recognition, shout out to a sponsor who came on board 2 days ago in Brooklyn and will be with us. If you are coming to Brooklyn at any time, or if you live in Brooklyn, or you're coming from anywhere on earth, and you need clean, nutritious food, you have to check out Organic Love Vegan Restaurant and ITAL Shop on Utica Avenue between President Street and Union Street, Brooklyn, New York. Can't miss it. A lot of Vincy's wrong there. Why you can't miss it? The motto is your health is your wealth. Organic Love Restaurant. Very near to the train station, the 2, 3, 4, and 5 station in Eastern Parkway in Utica. It's owned by a Trinidadian, but the main chef is a Vincy. Because the Trini man say, his food can't taste good if a Vincy ain't any mix high up. So a Vincy chef, Rastaman Bodai, enough people know Bodai. He is the main chef there. They open daily, every day. Every day. They will be open 366 days this year. From 11 a.m. in the morning to midnight, each and every day for business. On the menu, you have soup with ground provisions, vegetables, root vegetables, and root tubers. That's my main dish when I go there. And you also have spelt flour dumpling in that soup. Then you have okra and chana stew. You have bean stew with broth. You have soy fish. Remember I tell you it's vegan. So when I say fish, we're not fish from the sea. Vegan. Everything is vegan. Soya fish, soya chicken, both fried and barbecue. You have rice and red beans. You have yellow rice and beans. You have provision by itself. You have your green bananas. You have cassava. You have plantain. You have noodles. You have quinoa. You have couscous. Then you have patties of 8 different kinds of patties. Callaloo patties, ackee patties, pumpkin patties, lentil peas patties, split peas patties, kale patties, soy patties with fried soy, and soy patties with barbecued soy. And you have vegetable stew and soy, with stew soy. You know, you have your cauliflower and your broccoli and your bok choy and your pak choy and what's not and so on. And of course, you have your fresh vegetable salad. Drinks, juices, fresh juice drinks from pulp, passion, strawberry lemon, spirulina apple, and tamarind. Then you go down to the man named Daryl inside there, and you ask for a smoothie, and he has multiple choices. So you choose what blend you want, they're in charts, and you say what you want, and Daryl will fix you up. And also the shakes are for men. You could go and have a shake and charge your batteries. Power Shake, Super, Sea Moss, Fruit Moss, and King Solomon. Then you have cookies, oatmeal cookies, 5 different types. You have cake. Remember I said it's vegan, so no egg in the cake, right? You have cake, you have ice cream with 10 flavors. You have pone from cassava, and you have sweet bread. And you ask for minty. If you're going at this time of the evening, ask for minty. Another Vincy youth, half Vincy youth, half one parent from Vincy. She will be serving the food. So that is where you go. Okay? We also have our local sponsor, one of our local sponsors who would be coming, calling the lines very shortly. Bigger from Phoenix Kitchen, shouting you up to give a call to the line and let us get you live to tell us what you're having on your menu today and tomorrow and for the rest of the week. And at this point in time, Dougie, we have all the surprise for our listeners. We have a prize for you if you could answer this question. This question I'll be asking. This question I'll be asking. This question. I have the question in two parts. I have changed the first part. I was going to ask which area in St. Vincent has the most predial larceny. But until I get that 100% confirmed, I wouldn't be asking that answer. But I'm going to ask a question: which Caribbean island does St. Vincent do the most agricultural exporting to? That's a simple question. And the second part of the question, if you want to get the whole meal, it's a Sunday meal. Lee eats and drinks at Phoenix Kitchen, is this one. Now, I must tell you before I ask this question that you would not find this answer on Google, on internet, or in any book. This question has to come from careful thought out of your mind, the answer. Careful thought out of your mind. Okay? Careful thought. I want you to think. I want to put your mind in a different way of thinking. So I'm asking this question. Okay? Given the current situation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where there's a climate of fear, I'm not giving away too many clues, right? Where would you say that most Vincentians are living in right now? When I say living, I don't mean they sleep there physically. I mean they're living in there mentally. Where do most Vincentians live? We will take your answers by text, and Dougie will give you the number, or by call, and we will have your answer. We'll give the right answer at the end of this program. Whoever wins will get a full Sunday meal from Phoenix Kitchen this Sunday coming. You get the first part of the question right, you get the drink part alone. You get both right, you get everything. Okay? Yes, Dougie.
Well, the text is 497-6423. That's the WhatsApp text. So
could you repeat that for them, please?
At 784-497-NICE. 784-497-6423.
Right. And the people in the diaspora, if you want to send in your answer also, you could do that. And you can donate your meal to someone in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Because, as I said, it's one love in this program. Okay? So that question is open to everybody. Where in St. Vincent, given the current social state, do most people live right now? And remember I said, it's not where people live in terms of where the houses are. So think before you answer, okay? The second one, the first part of the question is, which Caribbean country does St. Vincent do the most agricultural exporting to? That's fairly easy. That's fairly easy. So, yes, Dougie, we're getting into the program, and at certain times we'll be opening the lines to the people. Yes, we want this to be an interactive program. So, until we do that, let's get into the second tune, the Book of Life. I want you to listen to the lyrics of this tune. I think that we have chosen the tunes for this program very thoughtfully. And I want to thank Rasai Shaka for his input into helping me formulate the program. Does St. Vincent export the most food agricultural produce to right now?
Trinidad.
All right, take that number there for me, Dougie. I will tell you whether you're right or you're wrong at the end of the program, okay?
Okay, what's the name and number?
Thank you, Bishi.
What's the name and number?
Give your name and number. Give your name and number to Dougie.
Okay, tell Dougie I'm going to call back and give the name and number the car.
No problem. Okay, that's the first part, right?
Well, you won't get me till after the program. That's the problem.
Hello?
You will not get me till long after the program.
Well, tell Bishi
text it to the text number. Text your number to the text number.
I cannot text the number. I'm not able to text it.
All right, well, okay.
Okay then, all right, no problem.
Okay then.
Call back the outside line.
Hello?
Call the outside line, 1013.
Yeah, I will get back to him if I win.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Trinidad.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, Bishai. Have a good night, you and Doggy.
All right.
Same to you, and continue listening.
Yeah, Bishai. So
Yes.
it's well, until bigger call where you got
Yeah,
start dealing with the
Bigger
issues.
supposed to be calling. Yeah,
I think
until we come right.
he's
The
calling.
main reason
Hold on,
for
he's
tonight.
probably on the line. Good night.
Yeah,
Good
give
night,
him.
Doggy.
Let him
Good
come
night,
in right now.
Bishai.
Yeah.
Good night, my brother. Good night.
Yeah, good night, buddy. Bigger big fear.
Yes, man. The phoenix rises from the ashes, man.
Yes, my brother. You call it segment here now, from the farm to the mouth.
Yeah, man. From the farm to the mouth.
From the farm to the mouth.
1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, Bishai. I don't know if it's the same person who called a while ago, but I got a note from outside with a number, and that person answered Trinidad also. So, and that person also, I think there's a different person. That person say most of Vincentian live in Fair. That's the second part of the answer. Most Vincentian live in Fair. And this person, give their name and their number.
Well, I said, remember, probably they live in Fair, but I said, where in St. Vincent?
Yeah.
We don't have a place named Fair. Fair.
Okay.
But take that number, and my gracious, our gracious sponsor wouldn't mind giving 2 meals for this one, okay?
No.
Right. So take those first 2. So that first part is answered. So let the other callers concentrate on the second part, because that first part is answered already correctly.
Okay.
Okay? So we'll deal with those 2 people. So they will have a meal each. Part of a meal each. Okay?
So you got bigger now on there.
Yes.
You're gonna have bigger.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, bigger. Go ahead.
Yeah, Bishop, I'm here.
Tell us what you have. Tell us what you have from the farm, bringing to the table this week.
Whenever we hear people living hand to mouth, I prefer to say now that we and this program is taking it from the farm to the mouth. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So for tomorrow, now we will have pumpkin that is from the farm, and that will be ready when they come. That is going straight to the mouth. We have things like provision, dashi, sweet potato. All these are fresh from the farm to the mouth, and
beautiful.
Along with the fish, the fish is not from the sea. That's from our
fish is from the sea farm. Well, we call all of that farming. The farmers, the fishermen farm the fish from the sea. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Call that aquaculture.
Aquaculture, exactly. So persons who are accustomed to get their meals on Sunday and doesn't know that we also have that kind of food on an everyday basis. Yes, we have it. So then you have tomorrow, along with we have the chicken, what we call the rosemary chicken flavor. We got the fish. Well, tomorrow you might get a pork tomorrow, but we more concentrate on the fish and the chicken in the week like this. So persons could come along and get all these different food. And of course the banana and saltfish, the chocolate sandwiches from our bakery in Richland Park Spices Bakery, and whatever flavor you want inside, whether you want it with turkey ham. We do have very nice tasty tuna sandwich. We do also a nice cheese sandwich with egg and cheese, and all these are different sandwiches you can have tomorrow at the Phoenix. And I'll be concentrating as again. We're saying most of our foods are locally grown and fresh from the farm.
Beautiful.
You know what I mean? And don't forget, Bishai, again, when you're ready to the best drink you can have is water.
And you have your juices.
Exactly. So with water. But if you don't want to have water, you could have your coconut water, and you could have tons of different local juices, whether it's Marby, ginger beer, sorrel, passion fruit, golden apple, whatever. It's just a Phoenix kitchen tomorrow and for the rest of the week. You know what I mean? So persons don't have to worry and think, okay, then it's only on Sunday alone that we don't have these things going on. We have them going on a daily basis. And don't forget, my favorite meal on a morning is some hot banana and sausage. There's nothing to beat that, I tell you. Lots of iron, and because you put it with the cabbage, you have lots of vegetables and so in it, and trust me, my brother, one of the best things on a morning is a good bowl of banana and sausage. So Great. I want to commend you and this inaugural program yourself, and how we cannot forget Doggy. Doggy is like a pillar.
No, Doggy is a powerful pillar of strength, man.
Doggy is a pillar for people like us in this country, who is there to lift us, to help lift us up. It's to the fact, to myself, I was coming in and I was saying, what can we do for Doggy? So we need to get together and do something special for Doggy in this country, because he is just like a tower to lift up all of us when we, you know what I mean? And to give us a platform in which we can speak. And I really want to commend him again to bring out another program again, my brother. Okay?
Before you go bigger, why people like you are so important right now? Mm-hmm. China is the most populous, well, the second most populous nation on earth, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And right now they are afraid to eat the food they have in China.
Economically, right? Okay. Mm-hmm.
No, in terms of population, people, they're afraid to eat the food in China because of the disease they have now, especially the swine. So they're telling everybody in the world to cook your food properly. Cook your food properly. You see where people like you come in?
But even that again to Bishi, I read somewhere though that food is becoming very it's going to become very, very scarce.
Well, I'm dealing with that in a later part of the program. So all the people who listen,
let me not jump ahead of you.
Stay tuned. Make sure you have a little dinner or whatever you drink. If you've done a dinner already, near to you. Don't turn off that dial. Keep it there.
No.
We're keeping it nice tonight. Not you, I talk, but everybody else.
Oh, okay, right.
Right now it's after 8 in the Caribbean in our places, right? Mm-hmm, but I have friends now where it's in the morning. Mm-hmm. And they're listening to my program. I have people in England now where it's coming up to midnight. They're listening. Mm-hmm. I have friends in South Africa who call me who are listening.
Wonderful.
I have friends in Kenya who call me who are listening. Wonderful. I have friends in Ghana who call me, they're listening. So this program going internationally.
Wonderful.
You understand?
Wonderful, my brother. Wonderful. So I'm here.
Here we are. I have people in Hawaii who listening. They all in the day. They know their day is like the next day. Already.
All right. Wonderful.
You know.
So I know for sure I will be listening to the end, and then if I see it needs for me to call back into to
definitely because the lines we are interacting with people.
To give my input and what you learn, I'll do that. All right.
Yes, my brother.
Okay, Baker. All right, so Bishi, so go ahead.
Yeah, the main reason for the night. The topic is, listen carefully, undressing a well-dressed lie. Undressing a well-dressed lie. Okay? We're taking the clothes off of a lie that is well-dressed. Now we're starting from this. When I was a youth growing up in Camden Park, the elder people and people who were elder than I used to have storytelling. They used to tell stories. And the stories are not necessarily factual truths, but they give you an insight into certain things, right? So they call them an allegory. An allegory is a story concept which teaches you a lesson. Okay? So one of the allegories goes like this. The truth and the lie were swimming together a day. Truth and lie were swimming together a day. He left the clothes ashore and they were swimming, right? And lie wanted to pull a fast one because people preferred truth to him. So he said to truth, let me see who swim under the water the longest. You go first. So the truth went first. And while the truth was under the water, diving, lie slip out the water, put on truth clothes, and run down the road. Some people saw this thing running, they say, oh, it looked like the truth going there. By this time, truth surface and realize what is happening. But he had no clothes, so you run chasing behind the lie naked. And a lady saw him, he said, no, that ain't true. Look, the naked truth going there. Right?
Yeah.
So the truth eventually caught up with lie and start taking off the clothes. Right? So some people would see the lie well dressed in the truth clothes and think, well, that look like the truth. But then you have to make sure. Now let us use this allegory in our time, in our real time now, and see what is happening. Let us apply it to a real life situation that took place in the Caribbean and in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In the early 16th century, the European countries realized that agriculture and the products of agriculture were vital for their social and economic development. They cannot develop without the products of agriculture. They, by climate and otherwise, were handicapped to produce the products they needed. So what did they do? They turned to human slavery, and the transatlantic slave trade came into being. And they brought our people, our ancestors, across the Atlantic in these islands and in the whole Western world, Americas, to produce agricultural products for them, to ship out to Europe, to feed their industries, to feed their people so that they could gain wealth. That happened until the early 19th century, 1838 to 1868, right, when that slavery became abolished. But the wealth that it generated and the sweetness made these people did not want to hold on to the control of the destiny of the enslaved people, our enslaved ancestors, who were living in these parts of the world. So during colonialism, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they had all the lands in their hands. We had nothing. We just had our labor strength. And they produced commodities to feed their market still. St. Vincent history tells us about, we had several agricultural industries and crops going at one time, major ones. You had coconut industry. You had arrowroot industry. You had cotton industry. You had sugarcane industry. That went out a little bit, right? And the local people you had livestock industry. The local people start growing their own foods. That is how we started trading with Trinidad long time, and then the other islands and so on. And because you had a small ground, which they gave you and called provision grounds, we started to call the hard food ground provisions. That is how the name came up. So that was the importance, and our economy is the flatter islands and the coral islands like Barbados, Antigua, St. Kitts, they had sugarcane as their main crop and cotton. They couldn't have the diversity of crops like us. So St. Vincent and the Grenadines was the leading crop island with the diverse crops. Then Dominica, then St. Lucia. And to a lesser extent, Grenada. Grenada had a lot of spices and so on. So we were the more mountainous islands. But agriculture played a dominant role in all the economies of these islands, which became known as the OECS territories. Fast forward up to when Europe became developed and had trade with the rest of the world, and they got sufficient of us in terms of agriculture, but they still wanted to keep control over us. So what did they do? They granted us our independence. And they start telling us technically that you all ain't supposed to be in agriculture, you're too small, and I was told that at university by a lecturer, a white man from Europe, that all the Caribbean supposed to do is to be like a holiday resort for people in the developed countries. So they start dressing the lie. They start dressing the lie. Okay? And the lie start looking to like the truth coming down all the way. So by the time in the early 1970s, the then government in 1970 and in 72, Sir James Mitchell, he wasn't so at the time, right? He came with an agricultural revival. And that phrase and that movement hot up the head of plenty people, locally and outside, who did not want our people to revive agriculture.
And he didn't want
it.
He did import substitution.
That's the thing. So when he started banning things like Irish potato, onions, and garlic, a lot of businessmen got vexed, and the countries outside where they were coming from also got vexed. So subtly, they decided that somehow or the other, by the hook or the crook, he go have to go with them policies. And he did go. Sometimes when we think things are happening from inside, they're happening from way outside. Because the power, the real power, lies way outside. Just want our people to be aware of these things. Still lay outside. So we get into the next phase now where after that land reform, because we had land reform 72 to 74, that brought up things like the Freedom Estate, and the land reform continued even into the next government. But at the same time, they were advised by outside to shift gears because they start putting in another piece of clothing on the lie. They start putting on another piece of clothing on the lie to make it look fancy. So they said, cut back on your agricultural public infrastructure, like stud centers and nurseries and so on started going. And they say, introduce industrialization by invitation. So Camden Park Experiment Station had to go. Not they say do it alongside it, like supplement it. They say swap it. Because their real intention outside was for us to get out of agriculture, to make us food dependent on them. So Camden Park went, Layou Stud Center went, Belmont went, all these places where we had nurseries and propagation stations and stud centers, gardens went, everything just went out. All subtly done, not for us to realize that the lie is dressed up in the clothes of the truth that is not really the truth. Or some of us not trained to dig deep. Go forward a bit now, and you get into the next government. 1980, well, in the early 80s, we had the French and we had the Taiwanese coming in. 1980s, when Sir James came now and he said land reform at Orange Hill and so on, they said, wait, more nice land going into the farmers' hands. They threw there, I must also say that from 1975, what the British did, what the Europeans did, not the British, the Europeans, they met in a place called Lomé, which is the capital of a West African country called Togo. Look it up because you're supposed to be familiar with your map of Africa, where our ancestors came from. Togo, on the west coast, a small West African country. The capital is Lomé, L-O-M-E, acute. Lomé, L-O-M-E, you pronounce the E like a A. Lomé, right? And they had a meeting and they came up with a trade and aid pact called the Lomé Convention for the African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries that were former European countries. Okay? So they're trying to give you aid and do some trading with you for you not to realize where their final destiny is. So we were locked into the Lomé Convention, which had 4 phases, right? The first phase was from 1975 to 1980. beginning of 80. The other one is from 81 to 1990. 85 rather. The other one was from 85 to 90. And from 1990, when Britain realized that she was going to join the single European market, 3 years after, they extended the Lomé Convention, that last part, to 10 years, which ended in the year 2000. I want you all to follow me, what I'm saying clearly. Show you how these people and our local politicians who are their servants in a way, following a line to get us where they want to get us, so that the majority of us would never have the kind of wealth we're supposed to have and the power we're supposed to have. Right? They say about no party thing, you know. Listen, this is about our destiny as a one people. So what happened now is that we used to get aid in different forms from Europe. You would hear all the politicians talking about it. You get all kind of packages like agricultural diversification package for this and that. But the thing is that we never had a real input into designing these packages. So most time when they give you a jacket, the sleeve either too short or too tight here or it ain't fitting you properly. And lots of the times, lots of the monies under both governments went back in red ink because the rules and the regulations and so on were so stringent. And apart from that, some of the local leaders did not want to really develop the sector either. So they try to shift the money not to the intended beneficiaries, but to people who they feel like. So all of us suffer for that. Okay? So what happened in the 1980s? They floated this next piece of clothes. This one looked like a little, like a pretty sports jacket. And this one was that coconut oil has cholesterol to get us in the region and our leaders to close down our coconut oil industry.
So that soybean could...
Yeah, and soybean.
Can thrive.
In a while, I will give you the latest international findings on soybean. I just trying to show you how the lie is running down the road with truth clothes on it. But truth catching up with it. So everybody say, yeah, close down this, close down that. You know the number of jobs and opportunities we lost in St. Vincent and the Grenadines by the closure of our coconut oil industry. You know where we could have gone? You know how many students could have been studying all different aspects of making things with coconut oil and coconut products, even from the byproducts that come out after you make the oil. You know where we could have reached scientifically if we had our people geared into it. We haven't had a coconut replanting program in this country for decades. And we won't have one under this present government. No, because their mind is not in it.
Bishi, you know the expensive European car use coconut fiber to do their seating before they upholster it?
Exactly. We had a factory here that was taking the coconut fiber in a machine, extracting it, making rope and all that thing. They burned down the factory. All these things you have to look at. These things don't happen by guess, you know. While they were saying that, I happen to be traveling to Europe maybe twice a year. When I get invited out to dinners by these same white people sitting down around the table with 5, 6, 7 of them, they're feeding their children a dessert made from pure coconut jelly, the hard jelly which is pulverized. But it's coming from Asia, Malaya and Indonesia, Malaysia and Indonesia. And they say, what's that? It's coconut. It's good for you. It has vitamin, this and that, and minerals. And I am saying to myself, how do they tell us coconut have cholesterol? And I start realizing that first when the clothes on wasn't really the truth. But then, even though I told my people at home that it's hard for them to understand because they're seeing the person from the back running down the road when the clothes are the truth. And they say that's the truth. Looks like the truth. Not recognizing is a lie. Anyway, so we lost those industries and we start closing down everything. Even our diamond dairy had to go. Even the sugar factory that we started up had to go. Everything had to go. Then it came to 1993, and the preference before 1993, the WTO, which was another instrument of clothing, like a tailor shop for the life, said that our preferential treatment was not valid in this world of free trade. So that had to go. So we lost our market preference that we had since 1954 for bananas, where we weren't paying any tariffs on the export, and we had to compete with the big boys, the Del Monte, and the big people coming out of Central America who are really based in America, USA. Five was based in Ireland. Del Monte and Chiquita and Dole and these guys, okay? And because our banana industry itself, including the farmers, was not developed. When I say developed, I mean trained and given the infrastructural support that they needed. Don't get me wrong, they did well. Bananas did well as a crop for our country, tremendously well. But it could have done much better if we had the climate and the support that the farmers need. Our productivity was always about a third of what Central America was. So while we were getting 10 and 12 tons per acre, some people were getting 9 and so on, they were getting in the 20s and in the 30s tons to the same acre, so that they could have sold cheaper than us. Apart from that, their labor costs were lower than ours. So we were at a total disadvantage. But it was deliberate. Then they start pulling out from Cardi, the support from Cardi and all these instruments. These are the big people, you know, the outsiders, the international people.
You have to explain to a lot of young listeners who may be listening what is Cardi.
Cardi is the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute. And the acronym is CARDI, Caribbean, C for Caribbean, A for Agricultural, R for Research, D for Development, and I for Institute, which is supposed to do research on our agricultural commodities in the region and do the development, which means develop the technology and develop the abilities and capabilities of the farmers to implement the technology.
Bishi, there's one thing that you kind of skip over. I don't know if you come into it. In that period that you were speaking about for the import substitution, when we had the Carifta, because Carifta then moved to CARICOM, remember that? And we
had markets.
Right, you had assigned market, then you had the LDCs and the MDCs, more developed countries and less developed countries, and so you had the AMP marketing protocol.
Agricultural marketing protocol.
Right. So you could go,
which
you should touch on that.
Which allotted to St. Vincent 2 primary commodities for export to the region. We were given the green light to be the main producers, exporters of these commodities. Groundnuts, or peanuts as we call them, and sweet potatoes.
And carrots.
And carrots, 3 commodities rather. 3 commodities. Carrots. You know why? People, you know why? Because as little as you see that blessed land we have there, we produce the best sweet potato this side of the world. The only other country that produces sweet potato of our caliber is South Africa. After that is Korea. We produce the best sweet potato in the Western world. It's that little island you see called St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we produce indigenous sweet potatoes because the sweet potato is a crop that came originally from South America, Peru, the Andes across there. Right? So the original people who came to St. Vincent brought sweet potato. Long time. I ain't come by, European boat or anything. Indigenous people brought that. Cassava, same thing. Corn, same thing. Coconut, same thing. You understand? They're telling us that no, all these things been there a long time before any white man came to St. Vincent and Grenadines. And we, through a gentleman, a Vincentian gentleman who used to live in Barbados named DeCourcy Jeffers, with Rose Oil connections, did experiments in the 60s on carrots, and we found that we were the most productive island in the region to produce carrots. So we developed a carrot industry from 1969, which shipped carrots to Trinidad weekly.
67,000 pounds per week of first grade carrots.
So all the people now in Rose, all who's scrabbling and suffering and thing, and they don't know what to do because a lot of the land's abandoned. You were primary producers of those commodities in those days. Belmont also used to produce, Belmont up here, up Windward Belmont used to produce carrots too. A few other places. But Rose Hall was the major, Rose Hall, Chumaka, Belmont was the major producer. They were major producer in Bell. And then peanuts, we used to send peanuts as far as Guyana. Swap it for sugar, sometimes for rice.
Yeah, it's the barter.
Barter.
Mm-hmm.
Barter. So that was the importance of our agriculture.
And ferrying to Bermuda.
Bermuda, we send ferrying all about. We send ferrying Aruba,
and
Curacao.
Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
You understand?
Mm-hmm. The Saguenay boat used to take it up to Canada. Same Saguenay boat drop off shipments in Bermuda, then it go up to Canada. Yeah.
What is a Saguenay boat? Anybody who born 1990 and up don't know what a Saguenay boat. That's a name to them. They don't even know what is a Dutch boat. You understand? This is how St. Vincent has come. But what has happened is that through the times, people were accumulating, not that we don't have tourism, and not that tourism is not important. Very, very important. Very, very, very important. Manufacture is important. Manufacturing, tourism is important. Sports and culture is important. Agriculture is the base. If you move that, all the rugs in your ladder fall down. They say like how we fall down now and we only crawling along at 0.3% GDP growth per year. And people still saying, yes, yes. Don't worry that. That's the next story. Anyway, they start getting more clothes, they buying more wardrobe for the lie again. So, by the year 2001, 2002, what do you hear them say? This is the principal part of the lie. Agriculture is a thing of the past. Yeah. Because now they want to get it mentally in the head of the young generation that don't worry that man, study something else. And they add on to that they want to transform the economy to a services-based economy. Now, if anybody who from the last, what's the last standard in primary school now, Dougie? Grade what? Grade 3, grade 4?
No, 5.
Grade 5, okay.
Yeah.
Anybody from grade 5 up would know that statement in itself is totally nonsensical. Because agriculture itself is filled of so many services that to say agriculture is a thing of the past and you want to transfer to a service-based economy is not even a double whammy, not even a lot of crap. It's total foolishness because agriculture has all kinds of services. You have veterinary services. Even if you go to the ministry now, they will tell you they have services there, right? You have crop nursery services. You have livestock services. You have statistical and data gathering services. You have data analysis services. You have transportation services. You have transformation services where you train one product into a different form. You have exporting services. You have educational services. You have machinery and mechanical services. So what this dumb people talking about? You're moving from a service-based economy and you're leaving it agriculture. Agriculture has more services than most of the other sectors, including tourism. Look right now, you're making medicine from medicinal marijuana, as they call it. That's an agricultural service. So our people must not just look at something from the back and say, that looks like the truth. Look at it all over and say, nah, that's a disguise. Make sure you know and you don't believe. Knowledge is what we want. So we get down to this level now, and what happens? From after 2000 and up to 2004, we had what is known as a trade surplus, annual trade surplus in agriculture. Annual trade surplus is what we had in agriculture up to the year 2004. From 2005, we start going in minus quantity. We're importing more agricultural food and things than we're selling. The dance can't pay for the lights. The dance can't pay for the lights. So you're owing Vinlec. And people still saying it good. So we move from a position where we were healthy in terms of the dollars and cents in agriculture to where we're totally unhealthy today. And if I may just give you some rough figures, the food gap we have from 2016, 15, we exported $76 million worth of agriculture and live animals, right? And we imported $212 million. So do the maths. 124 and 12, 136, $136 million in the red. Redder than the clothes the city had on yesterday in the meeting down Leeward. Red. Yes, comrade. 2017, we exported 73 million and we imported 204 million. Now this is addition, This is where you have to add, It's not like 1 year losing all the time. In 2017, we exported 64 million. You see how the figure going down? Exports, value. And we imported 210 million. That's 146 million in the hole. Even though you make 10 days in the Speedo game, you're still in the hole. You can make 10 days 15 times, you're still in the hole. You understand? In 2018, we exported 59 million, down again, and we imported the same quantity, same amount, $210 million worth of food. And for the first 3/4 of last year, 2019, we exported $43 million worth of agricultural produce with all the talk with partner Sabota talking. Yeah, but cattle going there, that's going now. We sent it to work. $43 million at the end of September last year, Sabota. That's what we exported. And we imported $150 million worth of food and in the country. Agricultural, fresh food I talk about. When I say food, I mean like the thing I talk about the fresh foods we imported. Okay? So that is where we are in the hole, way down in the hole. The bottomless pit it look like. But that is one side. Because of the nature of the food we importing, look where our health condition is in St. Vincent. Look how many people are obese. People who ain't 40 years yet, who ain't 30 years yet. Look how many people have diabetes. And we have no medicine, Just ask the people who's going to check the hospital on a daily basis. Look how our people, and because of a lot of, this is the spiritual part now I want to get at. That's why I tell you this program is dealing with spiritual science also. My people, when you eat anything with GMO, genetically modified organisms in it, you are not the same person who the creator created. They are changing your natural genetic makeup. Your natural genetic human makeup is being changed.